What's up, ladies? Good evening, y'all. Happy Tuesday. It is Tampa Talk Tuesday. As usual, we are excited to be with y'all today. Got quite the lineup. I'm excited. We're going to get into the numbers that we skipped last week. Actually, we're going to bring in new numbers for this week, so I think that's important to talk about. But we are excited. We're going to talk about Venice, Florida today. We're going to talk about the #1 suburb in the state of Florida. The rankings came out today from niche.com, and you're never going to guess who it is, but we're going to share that with y'all today. So if you're wondering where the best places to live in Florida, apparently they're in Tampa Bay. Just a little hint on that. And then we're also going to talk some golf today. We're going to talk some new community stuff. We're going to talk real estate market, of course. We're going to talk interest rates because, you know, Federal Reserve is making everyone's life painful. And that's just where we're at right now, right? So we're going to get into those things today, but I am joined by my wonderful and talented co-host here. We've got Mrs. Marcia Railton. Good evening, Marcia.
Good evening.
Marcia, where are you chiming in from this evening? I can see your beautiful home office, but where are you located for those of you that don't know?
I am in Bradenton, Florida.
Bradenton, Florida. She's right across the Skyway Bridge, just about 30 minutes off of St. Pete. So she is our mouth of the South, so to speak. My mom used to say that all the time as a kid. I love that. Not in a bad way, in a good way. Marcia's awesome.
I was going to say, I'm not sure I like that title.
No. One of those amateurs that I picked up as a child that probably should be buried somewhere. Understood. And then we have Miss Stacy Amon, who is up in Dade City, up in Pasco County. Good evening, Stacy.
Good evening, everyone.
Awesome, ladies. Now, I'm still in vacation brain, so I've really been struggling and playing catch up. Does anybody else feel that? Y'all get in vacation brain? Is it just me? Must be just me.
No, I did. Stacy was just in it over the weekend with her girlfriend.
Yes. Yesterday was a struggle, but I felt like I was a little better today. Well, Still struggling a little bit.
Stacy was celebrating a milestone birthday, her 29th.
Yes.
And she spent it. Yep. She spent it with a girlfriend this weekend. So she is apparently easing back into life this week. That's great. I understand that. And yeah, man, I was like so behind. I felt it's one of those things where you love to get away. And maybe it's just me. If you're watching this, first of all, we'd love to know where you're watching from and welcome. Secondly, if you have vacation brain when you get back, let me know down below. Please let me know I'm not the only person on this planet who suffers from vacation brain, right? Which is like you get back and you're still on island time, right? And life is just coming at you a mile a minute because I don't know about y'all, but our business doesn't work the way that all businesses do. I think our business is kind of similar to most people's where they don't replace your role. Nobody steps into your role when you leave work, right? They just go ahead and put the work on pause. And then when you come back in the door, they're like, congratulations. You now have last week and this week's work to do. Maybe it's just me. Is that like anybody else experienced that before? No?
I feel like you guys covered me really well when I was on vacation.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have vacation brain more before I go on vacation than after.
That's funny.
The preparation and the excitement, the preparation, all that before for me is harder than when I come back. Usually when I come back, I'm ready to just get back to normal.
That's awesome. And Marcia is one of those workhorses, man. I'll tell you right now that woman can get it done. There's no doubt about it. But welcome. So this is Tampa Talk Tuesday. We do this live. We try to go every Tuesday. Sometimes life gets in the way. For the most part, you're going to find us here Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're happy to bring it. If we've never met before, my name is Juan Alcala. I'm a licensed real estate agent and the team leader here with the True Living Group, along with myself, Marcia, and Stacy Railton. We serve the greater Tampa Bay and Sarasota areas. We help people just like you buy, sell, relocate, and invest from all over the country. So happy to have you on this live this evening. And let us know where you're watching from, y'all. Make sure you connect with us. If you're not watching us on YouTube, that is probably the best place to watch. The viewing experience is by far the best there. You can really be active in terms of engagement. But if you're watching us on Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those other channels, feel free to connect as well. Sometimes we do see the messages. Sometimes we don't. We just want to let you know I'm not ignoring you. We will track those down later and make sure we make connections. Now, all of our contact information is listed down below as well. So if you have any questions that are deeper than just ones you can throw in the chat, don't hesitate to send us an email or a text message. We got your back when it comes to that stuff, y'all. So we're excited. We're going to get into some pretty cool things happening around. But let's say hi to who we got watching here. Dennis said, just moved to Tampa from Destin. Haven't found a place yet, though. All right. Well, I think that means that you have shelter, because you left that little piece out, Dennis. But that's quite a hike, man. I'd love to know why you made the move. The one thing I'll say about Destin is that area has some of the most beautiful beaches in the entire country. But it also comes with cold in the winter. So shout out to that for anybody who wants to make the exchange. I'm from Michigan originally, and we have Torch Lake up there, which has been called like the Bahamas of the Midwest because of how clear that lake is. But here's a little secret. It's freezing cold up there, and the lake is only good for like 16 weeks. So you got to kind of deal with these things. But thanks for watching, Dennis. We appreciate that. Thanks for connecting out there. We appreciate it. Derek Weaver says, shout out from West Chase. My man. What's up, Derek? Pleasure. Right. Glad to connect. All right. Well, let's get into this. Madison. Oh, Madison's our people. Just moved from St. Pete from North Carolina. Thank you, Marcia and the True Living Group, for everything. Thank you for allowing us to serve you. Madison is also a vet, so thank you for serving our country as well. We appreciate y'all greatly. So thank you so much. I'm glad you're enjoying St. Pete so far. Of course, Marcia got it done. That's what she does. Jackson, Michigan. Dude, I was just in Michigan last week. Slim says, Jackson, Michigan here, contemplating the move myself. Come on down, man. You will not regret it. I was out there last week with clients and family. My mom lives in Onstead, which I know isn't too far from you. So just a heads up on that. But thanks for checking in, man. I appreciate that. Vince says, I closed on a house in South Tampa yesterday. I still enjoy listening to your show. Vince, you are a traitor. Now, do you see the dichotomy there? Madison, we love you. Thank you for helping us serve you. Vince, I bought a house without you guys. Sorry about that, but I still love you. Right? Like, just kidding. We appreciate you chiming in, Vince. Thank you very much. And congratulations on that closing, man. South Tampa's a beautiful area. Let us know. Are you on Bayshore, like close to that spot, Hyde Park? Where did you end up at? And again, thanks for watching. We appreciate that. But I'm excited to get in today's topics, y'all. So let's get cracking on this. I ask the ladies every single week who started first, and apparently I keep making a mistake, and y'all don't even correct me out there. Okay. Y'all don't correct me. So it is Marcia's turn this week. So we're going to get rocking and rolling. Marcia has been busting her behind. She has got a brand new listing down in Venice that is beautiful. We went and filmed that this week. Our YouTube video will be coming out this weekend about Venice. It's not her first sale in Venice, but I'm excited to kind of dig in there because it's one of those areas that is it's off the beaten path to me. I mean, when you come from, Tampa, St. Pete area and drive through Sarasota, as soon as you get south of Sarasota into that Northport territory, to me, it feels really rural, but then you get around these beautiful communities that they have down there. And there's actually a lot going on in the Venice, Northport area. So I think it's great that we're finally going to cover this because we don't have a lot of those videos on the channel. We're going to start doing more of those. But Marcia's got some great insights for us tonight. So Marcia, why don't you take us where you want to go?
Yeah. Venice is a really cool area. It's about, at least 45 minutes south of Bradenton. So it is, as Juan always says, the further south you go, the older the population gets. And Venice is like that. But there's so much happening there. And it's, everything there is brand new. So it's like they're building the city. It was not there, and now it's growing. Beautiful communities. The community that I have the listing in has over 2,000 homes. It is definitely a resort style community with very beautiful everything. Pool, spa, they have a sauna, they have a huge exercise room. They have pickleball, tennis courts. Mm-hmm. It's just phenomenal. It's beautiful. And right across the street from it is the Welland Park Shopping Center, which has restaurants and shopping, a huge, brand new, beautiful Publix. And right behind that is the Cool Today Park, which I love because we moved here from Atlanta. So we're huge Atlanta Braves fans. And that is where their spring training is. Also, cool today is our sponsor for our cycling team. I'm on an MS cycling team and know the owner of Cool Today, and him and his wife are super nice people, and they own that Cool Today stadium, which is awesome. We've been there for both spring training and for events like bands and stuff, and their tiki bar and the food at the stands for a baseball game is phenomenal. I was blown away because I didn't realize their food was going to be so good. So we really like going to the Cool Today Park, and they offer things like concerts and events there as well. So it's a great place to hang out.
We're spoiled down here with baseball, y'all.
Yeah.
We are spoiled between the Pirates, right? The Braves, the Phillies, the Yankees, the Tigers, the Blue Jays. I mean, the list goes on and on of spring training baseball because of the Grapefruit League down here in South Florida, South Central Florida. And it's just beautiful. It's great. I didn't know they did concerts and events there. That's awesome, Marsha.
Yeah. And the thing I was really surprised about when we heard it was a spring training facility, I didn't expect it to be as nice as it is, but it is. It's like that Atlanta Braves Stadium, but like smaller, which I like even better because it's, it's not so hard getting in and out and all that. So it's a really cool place.
Yeah, that's great.
Venice has tons to offer. We've been to chalk art festivals there that were really cool. It has the Legacy Trail, which it runs all the way from Fruitville Road in Sarasota down to the historic train station there in Venice. And it's I think it's almost 19 miles. So if you like cycling or walking or jogging, any of that, the Legacy Trail is an awesome place to do that. Yep. I believe it was a railroad train track, and they turned it into a beautiful cycling, walking, running trail.
Yeah, and I'll highlight it really quick, but that is this trail right. Ooh, where'd it go? It's this green line here. All right, I'll zoom out a little bit so y'all can get a little bit better perspective. But as you can see, it's not small. Carrying through there.
Trail.
Yeah. Let me pull up Venice again so y'all can take a quick peek, because Venice is not small. That's the thing that when I first looked at it on the map, a lot of our coastal towns, they're pretty tight. What I mean by that is they're usually like an area maybe this big. A lot of our coastal towns here in central, West Central Florida and moving further south, but it really sprawls out here, right? And heads pretty far up back across 75, and then you get out here in the Everglades. That's what this big green thing is out here. And for those of you that don't know, we refer to this portion of I-75. Ladies, you want to let everybody know what we call that?
Alligator Alley.
Yes, this portion of I-75 that goes from the west coast of Florida over to the east coast of Florida is called Alligator Alley. And the first time I heard that, I was like, "Is that true? Is that really true?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, it's called Alligator." And I couldn't wrap my mind around why until the very first time that I went over there. And I'm zooming out here just to give perspective on this. But we took a trip. After we moved here, rather than driving across the middle of the state like we normally would to go over to my father-in-law's, we actually went to the south and then came up. So we went across Alligator Alley. And y'all, this entire way across the state here, which I don't know how many miles it is. We'll have to look it up. It's probably at least 80. We'll have to look it up once you make this left turn, because you literally make a left turn. You're taking your I-75 straight, just heading south. And then all of a sudden you make this left-hand turn over Naples. And then there is nothing on that road except swamp on both sides for that entire 80 miles, except for one gas station, right in the middle of it. And of course, we took this trip at night, and we pull up into this gas station, and it's a pretty large gas station, but it was like a scene out of a horror movie. And what I mean by that is that it was the terrible white fluorescent light, and the bathroom's like sketching out in the corner, and there's like 3 people randomly here, and you're driving down Alligator Alley, and they have like tall fences on both sides to keep these gators off the side of the road. And I'm immediately in my mind, I'm like, if you break down out here in the middle of the night, no wonder why they call it Alligator Alley. Like, that's where you go and people don't find you anymore. Right? It's crazy. So I share that with y'all to be prepared. Take flashlights and food, and don't get out of that car. That's all I got to say about that. Because like, I don't care what Floridian tells me anything. That is the place where you go and nobody finds you ever again. Right? So like, go during the day and it'll be great.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a very long stretch of road that goes on forever. And it is kind of scary because it's, you know, I believe, it's been a while since I've done it, but I believe there's signs before that say, make sure you have gas and blah, 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 you know, so it kind of builds up some nervousness, especially if you're by yourself driving across there.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. It's one of those things. So just a little insight for you know, those of you that don't know. You know us. We bring the good, the bad, and the ugly here, right? Like, it's a great stretch of highway, nice and smooth, and everything's great over there. But I'm just telling you right now, I have no interest in being broke down on that side of the highway in the middle of the night. None. Absolutely zero. All right. So it's a good stretch. But coming back to Venice, sorry to derail your conversation there, Marcia, but it's one of those things. People don't tell you this stuff.
No.
Right? They don't tell you this stuff. So one of the things I noticed being down in Venice is there are some incredible golf courses too. I know that wasn't on your topic list, but you got Sarasota National right there. And what's the golf club right next to where our new listing is? Goodness gracious.
I didn't look into golfing down there.
We'll dig it up for y'all. It's right here.
Okay. A couple other things I wanted to mention about Venice was the beaches. One thing they're known for, they have a couple beaches, the Venice Beach and Casperson Beach, and they're known for shark teeth. So like if you or your kids or whatever are into that, or divers, my daughter does scuba diving, and I know she's gone shark tooth diving down there.
That's so
it's known for that. So it's a cool thing. We love going to Sharky's on the pier. It's a restaurant that's right there on the water and the pier, and you'll see people fishing, and it is a phenomenal view. So it's a lot of fun to go there for dinner. It's a great place to bring people coming to visit the area. And they do have a lot of events there as well. So it's a cool place.
Live music, which Marcia's a big fan of. So if Kate and we love live music too.
Yeah. It's a really cool place.
We just had dinner together, families, at Slice Pizzeria in Indian Rocks Beach last week. They got live music there. We love it.
Yeah.
So we're all beach bums and love live music, so you can't go wrong there. This is cool. I love this place. What else?
Yeah. I wanted to talk about boating in Florida. So as you know, my husband and I love boating. But when we moved here from Atlanta, we were used to boating in a lake. So it's a little bit different when you move to Florida in the options that you have. The size of your boat matters a lot, and the type of boat you purchase because of what you want to do. So there's a lot of different types of bodies of water here, and a lot of things people like to do. So for instance, you might be a deep sea fisherman. You might be somebody that just likes going to beaches. We really like going to restaurants, and we live off the river. So when we first purchased a boat, we bought a pontoon boat, and it was great for, going for rides and going to restaurants. But once we got to the river edge into the bay, I put a stop to it because in a pontoon boat, it was so scary for me. It's very rough, and it just didn't feel like the right type of boat to be out in the Tampa Bay. So we sold our pontoon boat, bought a bow rider, and it's much better for that type of traveling, as traveling out in bigger water. So we made that change, but there's options. And I see you have the Freedom Boat Club. That was something we looked into when we moved here. That was started in Sarasota, actually. I didn't know that until I did some research, but I thought it was pretty cool because it was started here, but now it's in, I think it said 300 different cities in the US, Canada, and Europe. So the cool thing about that is if you belong to the boat club here in Bradenton and you go over to Paris and they have a Freedom Boat Club, you can rent a boat there or anywhere that they have this Freedom Boat Club. And they do have different options as far as you can, rent a boat 10 times a week or once a month. They have different types of memberships. And they didn't price them out because they said because of different areas and different options, they don't price them out on the website. So you'd have to call there directly. It's wonderful because they take care of the boat. You call and line it up and it's ready for you to roll. It's gassed up and everything else. We found the downside of it was that number one, every time you got on the boat, you had to haul all your stuff with you, but also you have to be back to the marina by a certain time. So if you're a person like us that likes to go out for dinner on our boat, it doesn't work out because I think you have to have the boat back by like 6 o'clock, either 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. So that's pretty early. Get your boat back in.
Look at all those locations, man. There's a lot.
Yeah, it's amazing. I thought that was so cool. And I know several people that belong to them and that really enjoy them. If you're the type of person that would like to boat in the morning, get up and go boating and then are in by, late afternoon and like to travel a lot, especially for retirees. If you're traveling a lot and like boating, it's a really good option.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you can see it over in Spain,
the
UK, Nova Scotia. I mean, it goes that far north, obviously out all along the East Coast because it started here and then going out to the West too. That's great, Marsha. I love that. And I've looked into this a little bit. There is an upfront fee that you pay one time. I don't want to quote it because I don't know if they charge different based upon areas.
They do. It said that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, there was a comma behind it, just so you guys know. I think it was like $4 or $5 grand is the number I was hearing. And then there's a monthly subscription fee essentially with it. And then the boat's ready for you to rock and roll. You do have to pay to fill it back up with gas when you're done though. That was my understanding of how the program works. So, but this is cool.
Yeah. But they also have unlimited training by the Coast Guard. So you can take as much training as you want. And it's also a social club. So it's kind of like belonging to, Moose Lodge or any of those places. Because if you belong to it here in Sarasota, then you're going to also meet people in Spain and different places that you go and they have events. So it is a really cool option.
The people that I know that have it say they love it. And y'all, for those of you that don't know, owning a boat is incredibly expensive. It's an incredibly expensive endeavor. Depending on the size of the vessel too, it can get insane, right? But some of these fishing crafts, it's nothing to see a $300,000 boat on the water, right? It's nothing. And that is not, and we're not talking about large boats, right? We're just talking about like maybe a smaller charter size fishing boat, like a Boston Whaler, those types of things. And then you include the insurance and then the fuel and then all the other things that go along with it. This is the right product for certain people. If you're not going to be able to get on the water constantly and you travel a ton, this could be a really good fit for a lot less of an investment, right? And if you're trying to try it out, right? Like, hey, I'm thinking about buying a boat. This is a great place to start. Right? Get a membership, spend a year with these guys, learn the craft, learn how to navigate, get your training in and train on somebody else's boat, so to speak, and then make a decision whether it's going to be right for you or not. Just a little, word of advice. I've owned watercraft in the past and a boat, and people used to tell me all the time, the two happiest days of a boat owner's life is the day they buy it and the day they sell it. And while I don't think that that's true, there is some truth to that statement, right? Like it's not 100% accurate, but there are moments when you're like, this is super frustrating. And like, you just go through it. But hey, such is the cost of luxury and recreation.
Yeah.
Right? So like,
I love having a boat, but it is very expensive. One more thing I wanted to say about the Freedom Boat Club that I think is cool. It's kind of like renting cars. I used to do that for the type of business I was in. I had to rent get different rental cars. And it's a great way to try out different boats. You might think you want a pontoon and decide you want a open bow boat like we did. It's a really fun way to try different options. So that was a great idea. You can also just rent a boat. There's plenty of places in Florida that you can rent a boat for 4 hours or an 8-hour day, and plenty of people do it, once a month, or when they have family or company in town that they rent a boat for the day. That's the option as well. And then the final option, like you were saying, is to own a boat. And there's lots of decisions to be made if you do decide to do that. Besides the type of boat and the size of the boat, all that, you then have to figure out how you're going to store it. So the most popular way, of course, is to have a dock. And we have had those priced out here, and now they're like up to $35,000 to get a dock. And that does include a lift, but being in Florida with having that salt water, you want your boat to be out of the water. Otherwise it gets barnacles and all kinds of stuff on it to maintain. Or I had put on the information, Juan, about renting a marina slip. There's a lot of options with that. There's tons of marinas in the area, and you can rent a slip. I think the one I looked at was like $37 a foot per month. So for a 24-foot boat, that'd be $888 a month. So that's expensive.
Yep.
Or you can dry dock. The dry dock is a lot like the Freedom Boat Club, in that you have to have your boat back by a certain time, because what happens is you call ahead, tell them you're coming. They have the boat in the water for you and ready to go, which is wonderful, but they close at 5 o'clock or whatever. So you have to get the boat back there in time for them to be able to pull it back out of the water. And it's like on shelves, kind of. They have like a barn or building that they keep all these boats in, and they're stacked on top of each other. Yep. So that's another option for keeping your boat. And finally, I'm sorry, go ahead, Juan.
Oh, go ahead.
Finally, I was just going to mention an app that I found called Waterway Guide. We like it because it lists all the marinas in the area, tells you what all their amenities are, tells you if they have gas, and if they do have gas, what the price is. So it gives you a lot of information if you're out on the water and want to, you need to find whatever, gas or bathrooms or whatever you need to find. That's a great app to have. And the other one is My Radar, because weather in Florida pretty much predicts if you're going to go boating or not. And the whole time you're out boating, I'm not good at it, but thank God my husband is. You have to keep checking the weather, because it can change very quickly, and you don't want to be out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico in a 24-foot boat when a huge storm comes around.
Nope.
So
the Gulf of Mexico keeps your boat when that happens.
Yeah. And it can happen quickly. You're out there and it's beautiful and sunny, and all of a sudden, it's like a hurricane. So,
y'all, it's like one of those things that's funny you bring that up, Marcia. I remember when we first moved here and the rainstorms at the very first week we moved in. And I think I've told this story in the lives before, but forgive me, y'all, for sharing this with the audience. But like, we were here the very first, I think it was like it was the first week for sure. The second or third night, it rained. And when I mean it rained, it rained. We took possession December 9th, and it rained so hard, right? And I thought that the roof was coming apart, right? Like, it was windy and the thunder was it was so loud. And I'm like, I was anxious. The wife was anxious. It's a new house. It's got all kinds of new noises. We don't know what, and we're from the up north, right? We're from Detroit, Michigan. Like, if we have storms like that, usually there's a tornado involved, right? And down here, it wasn't that big of a deal. And I didn't know this at the time, but our house has a sump pump out in the backyard. And it has a sump pump because in Florida, it rains inches in minutes, and it will overwhelm any low-lying area that you have. We've got great sandy soil. It does recede pretty quickly, but it doesn't change the fact that inches are falling per minute, right? And it can just overwhelm anything. And we've got a covered lanai and all these gutter systems. And some genius decided that at the bottom of our gutter system, like halfway, it's not even all the way down, at like about 2 feet off the ground, they were going to take a corrugated drain tile and make that the bottom part of the gutter and move that into the sump pump, which is cool. But you know what happens when 2 inches of rain runs across corrugated drain tile on a curve? It makes a noise like an accordion, and it goes whoop, runs across it, right? And it's making this noise. And my wife and I are laying in our bed in our new house, and we're like, what is happening outside, right? And I went outside. I couldn't find it. I was like, something broken. I couldn't figure it out. Nothing was happening. Every time I go outside, no noise. I come back in. It was just whole thing back and forth, right? It's like a scene out of a movie. And the next day, I have this beautiful neighbor. She's incredible, Miss Sally. She's well into her 80s now. And it's just one of the best human beings. And she's from the Midwest. Her and her husband, Roger, moved down from Minnesota. They worked for 3M and were moved down here to work at 3M down in St. Pete. And she comes over knocking on the door next morning, and she's like, how you guys doing? We're like, we're good. She's like, everything okay with the storm? And I was like, yeah, I think so. Is that normal? She's like, it's completely normal, honey. And I'm like, oh my word, like just coming undone. But it was one of those moments where like, it was so nice to have a neighbor come over and be like, this is normal. You're going to be just fine. Right. Even though in my mind, I'm like, I think our house was coming apart last night. Right. And totally not true, but it rains. And the reason I bring this up is because Marcia was talking about being on the Gulf, right? So you're out there and it will literally go from sunshine to holy, we have to get going right now. And it happens like that, y'all. Mm-hmm. It happens like that. So be mindful, treat the ocean with the respect that it deserves, because if not, it will help you get educated very quickly. And you don't want to live in that world. Trust me. You don't want to live in that world. So that's awesome, Marcia. Thank you for sharing all that. Marcia is the best with apps. If you haven't seen our previous episode, she's got an app for everything. She's got an app or a website for everything. So I think that that's great. We had some people chime in while we were kicking it. So let's pull them up. Michael's been commenting all over YouTube. Michael, pleasure, man. Moving to Parish in 1 month, no houses yet, starting with the family while we house hunt. Well, you know where we're at, bro. So let us know if you need help with that. I'd be happy to help you with that. That's right. That's right. In Marcia's backyard. So reach out to her, Michael. All our contact information is down below. But congratulations, man. I'm glad you're moving. Florida Mom says everything is getting so expensive for Floridians. Everything is getting so expensive everywhere. I just want you to know that. Like, we just got back from vacation. We traveled, seen a whole bunch of different states. We drove, and y'all, it's getting expensive everywhere. This is not exclusive to Florida. Trust me. I know we talked recently about the insurance problems we're having. California is now facing those insurance problems, and Georgia was just notified. I think State Farm or Farmers, one of the two, don't quote me on that. It's one of those two just said that they're no longer going to insure. So this is becoming a problem overall. So just keep in mind about that. Dennis says, we moved here for a great job opportunity. Congratulations, Dennis. That's awesome. And really wanted to love Seminole Heights, but we didn't. Okay. All right. So is that where you're at now? You don't have to answer, but awesome. Thanks for sharing, man. Let me see here. Awesome. Okay. Well, let's get into this. We're going to rock and roll with what Stacy's got going on. Stacy, talk to us about what's happening up in Pasco County. We've got some magic happening up there.
Yep, I was going to tell you guys about Saddlebrook Resort, which is in Wesley Chapel. It's right off Highway 54. It's just a couple miles from 75. But it was established back in the 80s, and they have like a hotel condo resort over there. There's like 500 units, but they have 40 tennis courts, 6 pickleball courts. They have 2 18-hole golf courses that were designed by Arnold Palmer. There's over 100,000 square feet of meeting space. And there's also a school over there called Saddlebrook Prep, which is well known for the tennis and golf academy. So there's been some famous tennis players that have trained there. There's also cafes, restaurants. They have a resort-style pool. They have tennis and golf pro shops, and they have a full-size driving range. Well, last year in March, a real estate developer came and bought 100 or 480 acres over there called Mass Capital. And so Pasco County Commission just signed off on their new plan. So they are going to completely renovate the whole resort, and they have some new development going on. So they're going to build a town center over there. It's going to be 75,000 square feet of retail and office space. And they're going to have a 120 unit townhome community and 25,000 square feet of commercial space. So that's really exciting going over there on that side of town. So that's kind of like the side of town is just now getting developed.
Okay. Yeah, that's a beautiful course. It's a great pool. We have some of the best pools, y'all. For those of you that don't know, I mean, it's Florida. You'd expect it, right? And it's real. We're getting ready to cover all of the lagoon communities. We've covered them on here before. You know, obviously we've got Wesley Chapel in Epperson, got South Shore Bay down in Waimama. We just had Murata open up in San Antonio, and then Angelina is going to be coming soon, and then also Sea Air down in Parrish. So before you know it, we'll have 5 lagoon communities. And I mean, look at this pool. Like, y'all, if I grew up in a neighborhood with this pool, I wouldn't be that disappointed. All right. So these communities just have access to some beautiful amenities, just gorgeous. So that's awesome, Stacy.
Yeah. And I've heard they have an amazing spa there too. I haven't been there, but I had some friends that go and they love it.
Yep. Awesome.
We all love our spas.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, we do.
Awesome.
My
what else
favorite
you got?
thing to do. Okay. And then there's a new community out in Odessa, which Odessa is on the north side of Tampa. And it's a great community. You're 30 miles away from the airport. You're about an hour from the beach. And Odessa is known for, it gives you that small town feel, but you're close enough to the city to have the city life as well. But David Weekly is building a community out there called Copeland Creek. And they're going to have 7 different floor plans. 4 to 5 bedrooms, 3 to 4 full baths, starting in the low 700s. And something that's really unique about this community is their home sites. Their sizes are 70 to 80 feet home sites.
Wow.
Which is really nice.
That is. That's not normal, y'all. 40s, 50s, and 60s on average.
Yeah. So that was exciting to see. And it's going to be a gated community. It's convenient to the Veterans Expressway and the Tampa Airport. You're also close to Lake Rogers Conservation Park. So there's biking and jogging trails. You can go fishing and kayaking. And there's also several golf courses over there.
Yep.
You have the Old Memorial Golf Club, Tampa Bay Golf Course, Eagle Golf Club, and Northdale Golf and Tennis Club. So it's a great location.
I'm pulling up on the map here. We've done videos on Odessa in the past, y'all. So for those of you who don't know, you could check it out there. Beautiful communities. I've said this before. One of the things I really appreciate about the way that they've built out Odessa is the fact that they've really tried to maintain the green space, right? And make the communities work around the existing landscape. And I know that's not perfect, right? There's a lot of clear cutting. I understand all of those things, but like with growth, this is the challenge. We have this balance that we have to try to work through. But one of the things I love about Odessa as a community, between the beautiful parks and the way that they've approached this, I think that whoever sits on the board and approves development has done a wonderful job in that respect. It's one of the things I really like about that community. And for those of you that don't know, it's right off of Veteran Memorial Highway, which gives you access right downtown to the airport. from Odessa to TPA, short drive, literally 25 minutes, depending on where you are in the community. You can be there in 20 or as much as 35 minutes, depending on traffic and those types of things too. But for the most part, it's a clean, easy drive on the way in, even all the way into downtown Tampa. You're roughly 45 minutes to the beaches. You can be on Honeymoon Island from there. Even with traffic, you can probably make Clearwater Beach in about an hour, just in terms of drive time. So it's not, even though these things look closer, I just want to give you guys perspective on traffic, right? So keep that in perspective as you go along with. That's great. 700s is fair for Odessa. It's not an inexpensive place to live. It's not the most expensive, it's not South Tampa in that respect, but it definitely has some of the higher home values in the area, but also known for really good schools. It's not far away from I-75, where you have access to Tampa premium outlets and those types of things too, right, Stacy?
Right. Yep. Very close.
Awesome. That's cool. Let's look it up right now. I'm going to pull up Odessa's home prices currently. So, I mean, look at that. The median, and man, just something to keep in perspective, right? All the naysayers and gloom and doomers about real estate over the last 2 years, and here you are at 22.6% increase year over year in Odessa, and the median sales price is 742. We're always mindful of that median thing. I share with y'all all the time. I'm far more interested in the average, because the average is what we're usually dealing with, more than the median. But you can see what's going on here with their home prices in Odessa. In Odessa, for a long time, there wasn't hardly anything out there, if anything at all. And they've really started to build up over there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and great opportunity. So what do you think the home prices are actually going to ring out at there? You're going to be closer to probably 850s, right? 850 to like 1.2, if you had to guess.
Yeah, because that's a builder you do upgrades.
Yep.
And home site premiums and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, Weekly makes some good homes. They do make a quality product. I don't think you'd be disappointed. They don't necessarily have the most high-end finishes, so that's something to keep in mind. If you're looking for more of that, you might want to swing. It's hard to say, but it's going to be personal preference. The quality of the build, I think, is great. Their attention to detail, in our experience, has been wonderful. Their sales team and their building team was very thorough with our clients on the walkthrough. They were very understanding. They worked hard to make sure that things were in good shape. Because things aren't perfect, right? When you build a home, it's literally moving and doing all the things. Wood is still drying out. Like, all those things just are part of the process. But they did a really good job at making sure our clients were very happy with the deliverable. So I'm a big fan of that. So for those of you who want to get more information on that, reach out to Stacy directly about Copeland Creek or Odessa if you want more information, especially anything in Pasco County or in Tampa. Stacy's handling a lot of that business there. If you have any questions about Sarasota, Venice, Bradenton, Parish, those areas, that's Marcia's backyard. So she is swinging it down there. She covers a lot of St. Pete for us as well. And then the ladies can work both ends, all the beaches, everything in between. I cover where I need to. They're excellent at taking care of clients. As you saw earlier, Madison gave Marcia a huge shout out and a thank you for her service. So we're grateful for the opportunity to be able to serve y'all. So thank you for that. I'm grateful that you trust in us. We get so many reach outs from people all across the country every single month who are considering buying, selling, or relocating in this area. And the fact that you guys trust us enough to reach out, it literally is, it's one of those things that just blows my mind, right? We're on a live stream and here you are reaching out directly. So thank you very much. We appreciate that. And we're happy to serve. So thanks y'all. We appreciate that. And Stacy, was there anything else that you had about Copeland Creek or anything else?
Well, I wanted to mention too, I know, we've mentioned it before, but builders are having some really nice incentives right now. Really nice. All of them are. Mm-hmm. So if you're interested in new construction, now is the time to start looking.
Yep. So let's walk you through that real quick, y'all, because one thing I want to make note of is builders they reach out to us because we have so many great clients like yourself who come to us. So we'll get contact, by the sales team. Hey, Juan, we're running a sale next week. We're going to have this, make sure you bring your clients by. We've got a great relationship there with our builders. And for those of you that don't know, builders already have our fees built into their sales. You're not saving money by going directly to the door, even if you tell them you are. Right. I'm not saying that they're unscrupulous. I'm just letting you know. Right. So that's awesome that they have that built in. But more importantly, we can walk you guys through the process, because there are times when these things don't go perfect and you need somebody who knows how to navigate through those contracts, because at the end of the day, builder contracts are very friendly to builders. It is not like a normal purchase agreement between a buyer and a seller, when both people that are at arm's length for the most part, and that there is a fair and equitable system. I'm not saying that builders build contracts that are illegal or anything. Don't take it as that, but they are very favorable to the builder.
And right? Their contracts are very thick.
Yeah. Yeah. And they take a ton of money up front. Most of them take at least 10% down, which is a big expense. You're talking about starting home in Tampa is $400,000. Right. Mm-hmm. And you start talking about $800,000 or $1 million, they've got you pretty tightly wound up in there if anything starts to go sideways. So having people who understand the contracts, know how to hold people accountable for what's written, is a very valuable asset. So that's my pitch for our service. And am I pitching you? 100%, because you need an ally in this process. We have seen it go sideways. Okay. So we're here to walk you through that process, and we're proud of it. So grateful for that. Reach out if you have questions. Don't hesitate to do that. Our contact information is down below. But building is a process. It's not a precision. It's not a perfect process. People are involved, right? These builders aren't the same crew on every single house. So you can have an incredibly wonderful home that's built, and then you can have a home that's built by the crew that was partying all weekend. Right. So when you have those pre-inspections, which we help our clients through, these things matter. Okay. Again, we have some wonderful builders in the area. We have some beautiful products here. We just need for you to understand that, it's not all sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows all the time. You got to work through things. So that's our job. Now, on the incentive side, Stacy, you mentioned that specifically. We're seeing builders right now give flex cash and closing cost cash. It can either be a combination of both. One or the other. We're seeing a lot of that. And then what we're really seeing right now, which is super important in a 7% interest rate environment, is these builders are giving hot rates like 5.25. Like they're getting aggressive to get you in the door, which is awesome. So, you're seeing these big rates going, well, I can't afford it. But if you could get a rate that's 1.5% lower than the prime rate right now, man, it's a good opportunity. Who's really winning with new construction is vets. We have a ton of vets that come in and buy. Builders love vets because the government guarantees the money, right? So they don't have anything to worry about. And vets are basically recession proof. These guys got jobs and these gals got jobs. And I love that because it's the one place where the ground is level for the most part when it comes to real estate sales. And, if you're a veteran, sometimes it can be very difficult to get your VA loan accepted, which is very unfortunate. And a lot of that has to do with education of the seller and maybe the listing agent. So we're advocates for that. Just so if you're watching, you need somebody that knows how to navigate those waters with the VA as well. It's a great product. And for those of you that are watching or considering selling your home, whatever people told you about VA loans that was from 20 or 30 years ago, that's not true anymore. Okay. It's just not. They're excellent loan products. All right. Excellent. One of the myths about VA loans is that the appraisal stays with the property, and it does not. It stays with the veteran. That's a huge win, just like a conventional loan, right? So people don't want to take FHA in a really hot market because they're worried about the appraisal falling short and it's sticking with the property for 6 months. But if you take a VA or conventional loan, that doesn't happen. Right. So it's a wonderful product to use, and we get to serve the people who have served you. Don't forget. And if I sound strong about this, I am. I'm an Air Force brat. My brother has served. My best friend served multiple tours in Iraq. And my barbers, I've been surrounded by military my entire life. These people serve us. And I'm never, ever going to let that go. I'm very grateful. I get to sit here and bump my gums in front of y'all because those people are willing to risk their lives. So thank you, just so you know, and shout out to our vets. So appreciate that. Thanks for bringing this up, Stacey. This is awesome.
Mhm.
You guys got interest in that. You know, again, aggressive rates. We can do things like interest rates buy downs as well. That's a whole nother conversation. If you want to know more about that, reach out to our team, because I'm telling you right now, just because you see a 7% interest rate doesn't mean that's what you have to have. All right. You just got to have a great real estate professional to help you navigate that, because that's what we've been doing, y'all. We've been negotiating these deals to drive down interest rates to make your payments cheaper. Or if you're buying cash, we're able to negotiate in a different way. So reach out to our team. We love serving. All right.
Juan, can I mention just a couple more things for new construction? Is I was able to negotiate less down than 10% for a couple that are building new. And also, they're taking contingencies. So the couple has to sell their home first, and they're still being able to purchase and plan on, closing. So they've been working closely with us for the, the relationship for the contract to be able to sell their home and move into this home that they're building. So I think that's important to know.
That is super important to know, right? Because everybody's like, what do I do? My home's not for sale yet. I don't have it listed, or I'm moving from another state. How do I sell and buy at the same time? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of moving parts there, right? So like having someone to help guide you through that process is super important. That's what we're here for. Okay. Don't hesitate to reach out our teams. We've done this. We've helped people get short-term rentals, Airbnb, whatever they needed to do to bridge gap in housing. We've helped all of those situations. So we can help navigate you through it as well. Okay. These ladies know the game. They're dialed in and they are here to serve. So we're grateful for you. Got a couple more questions. I want to get into, Tish G says currently priced out of Pinellas. Pinellas is not inexpensive, y'all, just so you know. Looking in the Valrico-Brandon area, but I've heard so many negatives about traffic. That's a great question, Tish, regarding traffic. Here's what I'll say. Traffic is terrible everywhere. We were just coming back from Michigan. We drove. So we drove through a lot of major cities. And on a Sunday evening, at least 60 miles north of Atlanta, we were in bumper-to-bumper traffic. So when I get perspective like that, it helps. However, that Brandon, Valrico, Riverview area, there is heavy traffic there regularly. So that is something to take note of. I don't know what is bad for you, right? Everybody has a different perspective on what that looks like. Some people are in the car all day, every day. They're just used to stuff like that. Others only, commute for work and it's short. So like, how are you going to live in an area? That's the most important thing. So like when people reach out to us, we talk about this all the time. What does your ideal lifestyle look like? That's where we really want to start focusing on. What does your ideal lifestyle look like? Now we can go look for the communities that match that lifestyle, and then the houses tend to take care of themselves. Okay, so just for perspective there. She asked about new construction. You can offer, again, you can make an offer anything you want. So for those of you watching this right now who have never maybe purchased real estate, you can offer anything to anyone as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical in this country. Right? However, that doesn't mean that the other party has to accept or even entertain what you're throwing in front of them. So it really just depends on the situation. When builders were really slow last October, when interest rates first shot up to 7%, they were definitely wheeling and dealing over there. Right. And if they're in a development where they're trying to get off into another phase of it, we'll usually see a lot of wheeling and dealing at the tail end of a development too, because they have limited inventory or limited options for people, and they need to break ground in order to get the next phase running, but they may not be able to make that move until X amount are sold, right, per their agreement with the development board, or they may not get the financing to break ground on the next phase until they sell X, Y, and Z. So great question. There's a lot of moving parts there. Reach out to us on the team. We'd love to have a conversation, see if we can help you get what you need done. So thanks for reaching out about that. Awesome. All right. Now I want to get into some pretty cool stuff. So today, we share niche.com a lot. We talk about it on our channel. If you've watched any of our previous YouTube videos, we refer to niche.com often because it is a great resource with community information. It's not perfect, but it's wonderfully curated. They do a good job of ranking things like schools and income and housing values and diversity and shopping and nightlife. They try to put all these things together. Again, it's an imperfect system because it's not local, right? You need to be local at the end of the day to really know all these things. But for a giant national syndicated website, it is very dialed in. And what they allow is for residents to leave reviews on communities, which I think is really cool. But they give rankings of best schools, best communities, best cities, best suburbs, best metro areas. They do all these things every single year. Well, they just came out with their list for 2023. And lo and behold, one of the best suburb, the top suburb in the state of Florida is in Tampa Bay. Right? That's exciting. Right. And we've covered this city many times. We've done, I think, 3 videos on this city. We've run around with clients looking for properties in this city. And we're excited to share that with you. I want to get into this info with y'all. So bear with me. Drum roll, please.
I'm going to leave that up to Stacy.
Drum roll. What was it? Clark Griswold, drum roll, right? When he was like, I on everybody about doing it, right? Like, so what happened was, I'm very excited. The #1 neighborhood in the state of Florida. This is the #1 suburb. So let me rephrase that, right? Tampa neighborhood ranked as the #1 suburb in the state of Florida, and that is West Chase. So West Chase just got ranked the best suburb in the state. Ladies, I was shocked when I saw that, right? And I saw the article, and of course, all the comments on Facebook were like, that's nuts. Yeah, of course it is. You know, everybody, nobody's perfect, right? So like, if you live there, you love it. If you're from the area, you're questioning it. If you're from out of state, you have no clue. But here's what I'll say. West Chase is an awesome city. It really is. And I'm gonna go walk you through this article a little bit. But Tampa suburb has been dubbed the best suburb to live in the state, according to niche.com. We'll walk over there in a second. I'll show you guys what's going on over there. But love this. West Chase got an A+ grade for its high marks on public schools, which Florida is not known for, y'all. Just so we're on the same page, right? So like the fact that it gets an A+ in those areas, like it says a lot for its schools, for its nightlife, for the diversity, for the health, and for the employment opportunities. And we've covered this in detail on our West Chase video. I'll put this in the description down below on YouTube, so you can go check that video out. Very helpful. Talks about the employers in the area, where to look for jobs, what's driving the area, the best neighborhoods. We did all the deep dive on that. So go check that out. I think it's pretty awesome. All right. And yes, we made the video, but it's very helpful. So I would encourage you to go check that out. Definitely worth a look. And jumping over to niche.com, this is their ranking. If you've never been to their website, it's wonderful. Niche.com, or niche, however you say it, wherever you live in this country. Right? But niche.com, NICH.com is a great place. And then you can come in here and you can put your city in there, find out where you rank. And I think that's important to note, because a lot of the times people will be looking online and they can't find all the information they need. Go stack up where you live currently, because if you love where you live and you measure it against another city that we have down here, it's a great place to start. That way, when you call us or when you jump on a Zoom call with us, you have a little bit of understanding. This is a really, really good place to start. I used this website when we started looking for homes in the area down here. Okay. Just for perspective, there's not houses, but what it gave me was an understanding. So I'm going to go in here and click on it. It shows you where it is on the map. I love this tool. You can actually save this. So if you're like community shopping, like we were talking about earlier, you can put this in your bank, so to speak. Just sign up, get a niche.com. And then underneath it, it gives you the rankings. On this column on the left-hand side, you can skip to anyone rather than going through all of them. But on here, they give their report card. So it gets an A+ rating overall. Public schools are an A. Housing is a B. Good for families is an A+. Jobs are an A. Cost of living is a C+. Welcome to Florida. Everything used to be cheap. Now everything is expensive. Outdoor activities, there's a lot going on there. It's got some of the best parks, y'all. Nightlife, diversity, weather, health and fitness, and commute, which I think is cool. All right. West Chase is a suburb of Tampa with about 25,000 residents. That's 21.8. It's right around 25,000. Plenty of shopping, dining, and restaurants. And then it gets into some other details. This is wrong. I'm going to show you what the actual number is, because I saw that. Yeah, both of you are laughing because like not even close, right? I'm not sure where in the world they got that number from. And this is what I was talking about when things aren't perfect, right? Like in here, it shows a blend. It calls it dense suburban. I would agree with that. I think that that's a fair statement, an accurate representation. West Chase is a suburb of Tampa. It's, just to the northwest of it. I'll show you on the map in detail here in a second so y'all can get reference for it. But easy drive in. You're less than 25 minutes, even on a bad day from Tampa Airport. On a good day, you can make it in about 18. And then to downtown Tampa, you're roughly 25 minutes to a half hour, just FYI. Closer to 35 minutes to Clearwater Beach. The location is awesome. And like I said, I'll show you in detail. You can check out some homes for sale on here if you want. The better way to do that is to call us. We'll get you the exact property you're looking for. So don't mess around up here. Ain't nobody need to be up in there. The West Chase rankings. It has rankings on here. Best suburb to live in Florida. Best suburbs to raise a family in Florida. I love how it gives that kind of ranking too. If you don't have a family, it may not matter, but I like knowing these things. Best suburb for young professionals in Florida. I think that that's pretty cool. Another thing to keep ranked on there. Crime and safety gives statistics. This comes from the Neighborhood Scout, who pulls data from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, so FBI. Just heads up on where that comes from. And they tell you where all their data comes from too. So I love this source, right? It doesn't just give you a number, it tells you where they got it, which I think is great. Diversity, it ranks diversity on that. So you can see age, income, education levels in there, and then working in West Chase. This number, I believe that's probably fairly accurate based upon what the housing costs are. That number's probably in the ballpark. And then here, public schools, it's got the schools attached to it. So you got public and private. Niche is a great website, like I said in the past. And then it gives areas that are similar. This is another area where I don't think that they do a perfect job here. So just for perspective on this is a resource. I don't love this spot. And then you get into reviews. Now, here's what I want to say. There is a vetting process for how they let people review in here. But let's be honest, people can sneak in here and do damage. But just like anything else, what I try to do on reviews is I try to look at the bottom ones and see if there's any real relevance to what somebody was complaining about, and then either discount it or consider it. And then same thing at the top. Like if everybody's waxing poetic all the time, that's great. But like what's happening in the middle? I love to look in that middle area. What's the 3 and the 4s saying about what's happening here? That's probably a fair representation about what's going on in the area. But I love how it has those. So it's a great website. Okay. And what did they say housing was right now? The median home value, $380,000. So I'm going to show you the real number because I have a bone to pick with this. And I found this consistent on here. And again, we sell real estate. So of course we're more dialed into what numbers are, but I'm going to use a public source so you guys can go look at this at any time. But this is West Chase housing as of June. Okay, so June 2023 are the last numbers. We'll get July's numbers more towards the end of the month here. So just for perspective, but the median sales price is $520.
Juan, we can't see your screen.
Pull it over. Sorry.
There we go.
Yep. So this is West Chase housing market, and this is through June of 2023. For those of you that don't know, real estate data comes out about a month late. So we'll get July's data later on this month. But again, the median sales price on niche.com was $381,100. As you can see, there's a slight inaccuracy there. And if we go to single family homes, I already know that it's going to go up dramatic. Yeah, these things are not close, right? There are townhomes and condos. There are a lot of them in West Chase. So that kind of throws that balance off a little bit there. But the single family home, this is more accurate. It's in that 700 range for sure. Okay. You're going to be, and from what we're seeing, Stacy, we're really looking at 750 plus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can get a 3-bedroom for sure. You can get a 3-bedroom in that lower range, but usually when people are moving into areas like West Chase, they're looking for a 4-bedroom, right? 2 or 3 car garage on average. And we're seeing them spend somewhere between 750 and like 1.2. So just perspective on what's going on out there. Love sharing that stuff. But here's where West Chase is on the map, just so everybody can see it. We're in Tampa Bay here. I don't want to get too far out because I know everybody can't see, but West Chase is right here, right at the top of the bay. So you got Oldsmar, which is this city right here, great little area, and then you got West Chase. But the thing that makes this area so attractive is you're right by the university, right? University of South Florida. It was one of the employers that is in the area. You've got all the medical facilities that are in the area. You've got Raytheon that is up in the area there as well. Honeywell, I think, is in the area. And then, of course, downtown. So if you're doing any financial work, you can just bump over there. And then you're close to Clearwater, Dunedin. It's a really nice area, y'all. And you're far enough off the water where you're not having the same challenges as us beach babies do living right on the coast. So you get some of that love. It's not necessarily a low-lying area either. So there is flood insurance and non-flood insurance. Well, everybody has to cover flood insurance at this point, but like how it factors into your insurance cost. So that's something to take note of. And then you got the Veteran Highway, which is right here, right? So it gives you access right there. Really,
we're not seeing the map.
Thanks for letting me know. Walked all through that. I need you ladies to say something sooner. All right, so back to starting.
I didn't want to interrupt you. You were on the roll.
No, interrupt. It doesn't change over. Sometimes it just gets delayed that way. So here's West Chase on the map. You can see the location. Everybody sees that now, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. The Tampa airport is literally right here. That's TPA. Raymond James Stadium is right there. You've got access to the Veteran Highway here, which can take you all the way up to Spring Hill or right to downtown. Downtown is not far from there either, 25 to 30 minutes, depending on traffic. And you have access to Dunedin, Honeymoon Island, which is right here, and then Clearwater Beach, which is right there. And then, of course, you're right there on the bay, too. There's parks right there. Golf courses galore over in that area. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's a really, really nice area. It is like, to me, it's like one of the quintessential suburbs. You're close to the city. You're like, you can be doing city activities in 20 minutes. That's awesome, right? And in my mind, I love having access to places like that. So I understand fully why people are excited about that. All right, we're going to start wrapping up here, but I want to talk just briefly about what's going on in the real estate market as a whole. All right, so we got a lot happening, but these articles are starting to come out, right? I think it was Morgan Stanley just released an article that they thought that housing was going to increase over the next 3 years, not go down, after we've been hearing nothing but gloom and doom for the last 2 years because of interest rates. Well, obviously this is from the National Association of Realtors. That's who NAR is. I do believe that you will find, people could say, hey, well, you're a realtor, you can use that info, but I just like this article and the way that it's built. I'll show you the reason why, but go check out Barron's, go check out Morgan Stanley, go check out Market Watch. All of the big financial companies are saying the same thing, that housing is not likely to see a giant correction or a crash of any sort. Again, this is the crystal ball, and you got to be careful with that stuff. But I think it's important to note. Okay, so NAR economists, housing recession is over. I want to get into why they think that's happening. Pending home sales rose slightly in June, and the latest indicators are showing that the housing market is on the mend. So we all saw this last year. Interest rates hit 7% last October. It really crushed the market in November and December. It was really, really tough. January was a stinker. And then basically since the second week of February, almost every single week, the housing values have increased. And the market has been extremely active. And I'm going to show you some data to support what I'm saying right now. I'm not just regurgitating some article. I want you to know I study this and I'm sharing this with y'all. Okay. But I wanted to make note of what Mr. Yoon was saying, who is the NAR economist. He said the recovery has not taken place, but the housing recession is over. It's a pretty bold statement, I think. But here are his thoughts. With consumer pricing inflation calming, and it is close to the Federal Reserve's desired 2%, which he didn't put it on here, but that's what it is. Conditions, mortgage rates look to have topped out. So he's saying that he thinks that this is kind of the peak of it, right? This 7%, 7.15, or wherever we're at right now, that this is probably going to be the height of it. So that's Mr. Yoon. Given the ongoing job additions, and we're having a really strong job market, any meaningful decline in the mortgage rates could lead to a rush of buyers later in the year and into the next. That is important to note. Okay. We're already seeing massive amounts of competition, and this has been going on since the spring. I remember, and Marcia and I were out shopping with a client who reached out to us from Belleville, Michigan, and they were out shopping, and it was that week when the market shifted. And I remember it. I'm like, hey, this market is shifting. I need you to know that, because it's starting to get very competitive. And it was like a light switch went on. And then all of a sudden we were in multiple offers on everything. You know, people were throwing over asking prices again. And it was just like, Katie, bar the door. Here we go again. You're like, man, is this really happening again? Now, it never saw the heights this year that it saw in 2020. That was insanity. We weren't seeing 30 offers on a property, 80,000 over asking, and you could have my firstborn, and here's my social security card, right? Like, we didn't see that this year, right? Thank the Lord, because I don't know how much of that we could take. Like, mentally, that's very, very tough on every month, right? Our poor clients were writing offer after offer after offer. But it is definitely gotten competitive. So I want you to take note of that. Now, we're coming into August, which typically is one of the slower months for closing and for sales in real estate. So keep that in mind. It's a great month to shop because everyone else is taking vacations and trying to get their kids ready for school. And here in Florida, our schools start August 10th. Not everywhere, but our district here in Pinellas is starting August 10th. All right. So, and that's roughly, we're going to be within a few days of each other, depending on what county you're in the state. Right. So as opposed to up north, if that's where you're watching from, where our kids went back to school the Friday before the holiday, right at the end of the month. So just to keep that in perspective for everyone here. All right. I'm going to pull up some numbers here. Try not to let your eyes glaze over. Just walk with me. Okay. All right. Just walk with me. I know there's going to be a lot here, but I want you to understand why I'm comfortable putting up an article like this. Okay. Because if you guys have watched this channel at all, you know that I good, bad, and the ugly, I'm going to share it with you. And I'm also going to share my professional perspective about what I see happening in the housing market. Now, the data that I'm about to show you here, this is national sales data, and it's coming from Realtor.com. Okay. Realtor.com is not owned by the National Associations of Realtors, just so you know, but it used to be, and then it was bought out by a marketing company. But what they do really well is they aggregate data. They collect information about the housing market. Okay. And I promise I'm going to simplify this and only talk about the important things here. Okay. Because that is all I want y'all to be focused on. I track this. I started doing this last week for you guys. And then I put it up again this week. So y'all can see this. And I want to share this. I'm going to keep it brief, but these are the important, there are more columns in their data set, but these are the important ones for you and I to take note of. Okay. And here's what I want you to know. This report came out the week of July 22nd. So they released it last Friday. And what I want you to take note of here is the median list price. The median list price is now flat. What do I mean by that? Well, list price were down. Last week, they were down. They were down almost a full percent. The week before, they were down. The week before that, they were down. The week before that, they were down. It was basically the second week of June, sellers were starting to ask less for their homes. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Right? They were asking less. But this week, it's flat. All right, so we're getting back to that. And we've seen this activity, multiple offers. Mr. Yoon says that in that article. You're seeing multiple offer situations. Sellers are getting more than what they are asking in our marketplace right now. And I showed that stat last week. Okay. And now I want to get into why. What's happening here? Well, the active listing count, this means how many properties are actually on the market versus the same time last year. When you see YY, that means year over year. Okay. So this is active listings on the market year over year. Last week, we were down 8%. For the last 5 weeks, we've been down versus the previous year. So when people are like, when are prices going down? Well, prices can't go down if we don't have enough inventory, right? That is outpacing the demand, and we don't. Now, why? Well, here's why. New listing counts. This means the number of new listings that were listed last week, not the total number of active listings, which is what the previous one was. This is new listings as of last week. Okay. And this is the category I want y'all to focus on. It is down 17.9% last week. The previous week, it was down 18.7%. The week before that, 27, 21, 29. If I take you down this chart, 55 sells. 52 of the 55 sells are double-digit declines. And these are weeks. So for 52 of the past 55 previous weeks, that's more than a year, we have had double-digit declines on new listings coming to the market. Wrap your mind around that. And I'm excluding the single digits, right? Because 52, or what was it? 49 of the last 52 weeks, and I'll have to go back and look at the date again, but I'm pretty sure that was my note from last week. 49 of the last, here, I'll pull it up. There it is. So 48 of the last 51 weeks, this is last week's note that I put in here, had double-digit declines. Wrap your mind around that, y'all. That means people do not want to sell their houses, and here's why. Because they either don't have a mortgage on their home, because approximately 40% of the United States does not have a mortgage on the property. It's owned outright. Another 40% who have mortgages have mortgage that are under 4%. And then there's like 85% of the mortgages in the country are less than 5%. People don't want to sell and go get a 7% mortgage and get less house for their money. So this is why less and less people are listing. You can't have a crash. You can't have a meaningful correction if you don't have supply. And we don't have supply. Okay. The median days on market. This means how long does a property go from listed, newly listed, to under contract. As you can see, this number has been trending down week after week after week after week after week. Down to 9. The median home is now sitting on the market for 9 days. 9 days. You need that to be at least 90 to be even tiptoeing into a buyer market. That's insane. All right. Price reductions. Here's the other one. Remember back in October of last year, price reductions, they were skyrocketing, right? And if I take you back, here we go. Let's go back here. So you saw double digits, right? 75% up, 100% up, 121% up, 143, 160. I don't need to beat this. 160% increase in price reductions in the beginning of January of this year. And ever since then, it started coming down up until June. And now we're in negative territory, meaning that they're reducing the number of price reductions that we're seeing on the market on a day in, day out basis by as much as 30% now. So again, I want you to wrap your mind around this. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm trying to help you understand where the market is and where it could be going. If you don't have inventory, if sellers are pulling back on cutting prices, right? And the median listing price is now flat. Do you think that you're going to see a giant opportunity to purchase real estate anytime in the near future? It's not likely. Possible. It's not likely. Okay. Now here's the last thing I want you to take note of. And I just started tracking this for the last few weeks. So I put it in the data here. This is the average fixed rate mortgage according to Mortgage Rate, Mortgage News Daily. Sorry. So Mortgage News Daily is the resource that I love to go to. Let me just show you that real quick. Great resource. Y'all can type this in and look at it anytime. Mortgage News Daily. It'll tell you what's going on with the 30-year fix, 15, FHA, jumbo. So if you're interested in these products, you can kind of have a handle on what today's going rates are if you have good credit. The big caveat, if you have good credit. Okay, just want to make sure the rates you're seeing here are the best rates. So I want you to be mindful of that. So I'm tracking this number for us as well. You guys will see this on a weekly basis. This is what's happening in our marketplace. Rates are kind of hanging steady in this 7% land, as you can see here. This past week, last Friday, they closed out at 7.04. I think yesterday they were at like 6.98. We're going to be in this territory of floating around at 7% for a while. Okay, that makes sense? Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. And again, my goal here is not to beat anyone up with data. It's just to help you better understand and for you to understand that we're looking at this information. While we do help people buy, sell, relocate, and invest, I look at this as a get to, not a have to. I get to sell real estate. I don't have to. I know the ladies feel the same way, right? We love serving. And this is part of it. Most of the people that I know work for a living, and home ownership has been one of the biggest levers they've had in order to be able to build wealth in their life. Okay. And I'm not somebody on here telling you that your primary home is an asset. It is a bank account, though. It is a bank account. It has proven itself over time, and we'll go deep into the numbers on a different day. I'm considering doing a live where I just chop up numbers during the week in the morning, and then y'all can come back and dip into it later, where I really nerd out on this stuff. But I love sharing this information so you can be informed. Maybe you get inspired enough to go out and do some research on your own, and now you can make a data-driven, qualified decision for yourself that is best for you and your family and how to approach this. Because I'm going to say this, and I'm going to wrap all this up. For the last 2 years, the crash callers, right? People have been screaming from the top of the rooftop that the real estate market was going to crash. Where are they now? Where are they now? Because we are only less than 0.7% off our all-time high in real estate value. And for the last 2 years, people have been telling you that. Meanwhile, the median sales price in the United States has gone up almost 11%. So that equated to about $41,000 in equity. Meanwhile, if you were renting and you were fearful because someone told you that the real estate market was going to crash because they were uninformed or they were just preying on your fear, you spend another 2 years renting at X amount of dollars, whatever that is. Let's just use $2,000 because that's the average in the United States. So you spent $48,000 on rent. You lost $41,000 in equity. I don't want to see that happen to people anymore. And I'm not sitting here telling you that that house is an asset. I'm not doing that. But is it a bank account? Could you have paid down principal? Could you have gained the equity? Could you have used that equity to go out and purchase another asset? Sure, you could have, because that's what people do who own houses, or they can. Let me rephrase that, right? And you got all the economists out in the world here telling you that real estate values are probably going to increase. It's going to be slow, but they're still going to continue to increase. And do I believe that there will be a correction someday? Sure. What that is, no one knows. They don't either. But here's what I know. I don't know anyone who's owned a home now for 10 years that isn't happy that they bought that house. And you don't know anyone that's owned a home for 20 that isn't happy that they bought that house. And if you know anyone who's owned a home for more than 30 years, it's probably meant generational wealth to their family. So with that being said, if you have any questions about buying, selling, relocating, or investing here in the Tampa Bay area, we got your back, y'all. All our information will be down below. I'll put that video in the chat below for West Chase, because if anybody wants to check that out, I definitely want to make sure you have access to that. We got a comment I want to follow up with. Axel says, wanted to say hi to Juan and the girls. I'm an active duty Air Force member with 22 years of service. Thank you for your service. We appreciate you. Stationed in Germany. What's up? That's awesome. I love when people watch us internationally. That's awesome. Originally from Orlando, and building a DW home in San Antonio. Always watch your show. Thanks, man. We appreciate your service, and thank you for being for watching as well. Ladies, I want to thank you personally for the service to our clients. I want to thank you for just being absolute killers on our team. And it's fun to work around people who really care and that want to win. They want to win for their clients. Trust me. They both sit back, but these ladies are competitive. They are very competitive. Not with each other. Not yet anyways. I haven't found that yet, but they are definitely competitive. Yeah, with their clients. They love serving. So if y'all want to reach out, Stacy's handle there, you can follow Stacy on Instagram at stacy.amen.realtor. You can follow Marsha at Marsha Railton. Marsha's super simple. You can follow myself at juan.alcala.realtor. Happy to connect. All of our information is below, as always. Until next time, y'all go out and live that Tampa life.
Tampa life.